Imagine waking up in an actual living hell on Earth. A blinding flash, brighter than 1,000 suns, consumes everything within miles. Heat evaporates flesh, structures pulverize into dust, and the very air transforms into a terrifying storm of debris. You somehow survive this unimaginable horror. Miraculously, you crawl out of the darkness, wounded, scarred, but alive. Luck? Fate? But what if just days later that very same hell found you again? And what if atomic death itself came for you a second time? And you, defying all logic and probability, still refused to go? We all face adversity, don't we? There are bad days, tough weeks, moments when it feels like the whole world's ganging up on us. We push through, we adapt, we keep going. But what if fate itself seemed absolutely determined to erase you from existence? Not once, but twice in the most catastrophic way imaginable. The virtue of resilience is often put to the test in our small, everyday battles. We learn from our mistakes, pick ourselves up, and try again. But what happens when the battle isn't against a bad boss or a tough exam, but against total, unmitigated annihilation? How much can a human spirit truly withstand? The story of Tsutomu Yamaguchi isn't just about an unbelievable stroke of luck. It's a profound testament to the unbreakable resilience of the human spirit in the face of the utterly unthinkable. It's about that razor-thin line between life and death, and the cruel yet perhaps merciful whims of destiny. This incredible narrative forces us to confront our own fragility and the extraordinary capacity for human persistence. Who was this man? And how on earth did he defy the odds in a way that truly challenges the very fabric of reason? Before we dive deeper into his mind-boggling journey, please take a moment to subscribe to Incredible True Stories for more astonishing tales. Hit that like button and tell us in the comments what city and country you're watching from. Yamaguchi's experience makes us ponder the true meaning of survival. It wasn't just physical endurance. It was a deeply ingrained will to live, a primal refusal to yield. He wasn't some larger-than-life figure from a comic book. He was an ordinary man thrust into extraordinary circumstances. His tale resonates far beyond the historical events themselves. It speaks to the universal struggle against overwhelming odds, the quiet courage found in desperate moments, and the enduring power of hope. His life story is a masterclass in not just surviving, but actively choosing to live against every single expectation. Our story begins with Tsutomu Yamaguchi, a 29-year-old naval engineer, on what seemed like a routine business trip to Hiroshima. He was working for Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, and life, despite the looming shadow of war, held a semblance of normalcy. He'd arrived weeks earlier, far from his home in Nagasaki. The morning of August 6, 1945, dawned like any other, humid and bustling. Yamaguchi was making his way towards a port, just about 3 kilometers from the city center, when suddenly the world went white. An intense flash, an impossible light, seared his vision, followed by a concussive shockwave. The force of the blast lifted him off his feet, sending him spinning through the air. In that instant, his eardrums ruptured, his upper body was severely burned, and his vision blurred into a terrifying haze. Disoriented and partially blinded, he tumbled into a nearby ditch, stunned but miraculously conscious. As he regained his bearings, the city around him was no longer a city. Hiroshima had been transformed into an apocalyptic wasteland. Fires raged uncontrollably. Buildings had collapsed into mountains of rubble, and the air was thick with dust and the acrid smell of burning. The screams of the wounded echoed. Amidst this horrifying chaos, Yamaguchi, though suffering from terrible burns and overwhelming pain, began to move. His primary instinct wasn't to give up. It was to find his colleagues, to seek shelter, to simply survive the impossible nightmare that had just unfolded before his very eyes. He stumbled through the debris, dodging falling structures and witnessing unimaginable horrors. Eventually, he found a makeshift air raid shelter, a dark, damp refuge from the inferno above. There, he spent the night, a silent witness to humanity's new, terrifying capability for self-destruction. Despite his horrific burns, a raging fever, and the agonizing pain that coursed through his body, Tsutomu Yamaguchi harbored an unyielding resolve. He couldn't stay in Hiroshima's ruins. His thoughts were solely consumed by his wife and infant son, who were safe in Nagasaki. That desperate yearning became his compass. The sheer force of his paternal love fueled an almost superhuman will. He understood the dangers of staying, and more importantly, the profound need to return to his family. This desperate need propelled him forward, urging his battered body to undertake an impossible journey through a landscape of death. The journey back to Nagasaki was nothing short of a surreal nightmare. He navigated through charred landscapes, past endless lines of the walking wounded, and encountered trains packed beyond capacity with dazed, injured survivors. The air itself felt heavy, imbued with an unseen, insidious threat. He somehow managed to secure a spot on a train, enduring the terrified gazes and the palpable fear of other passengers, who recoiled from his ghastly burns and the sheer despair in his eyes. Every rattling mile brought excruciating pain, yet he pushed on, driven by his singular purpose. There were no real medical supplies, no comfort, just the constant grinding agony and the terrifying uncertainty of what lay ahead. Yet, with each agonizing lurch of the train, his determination only solidified. He was returning to his family, come hell or high water. That much he knew for sure. Finally, utterly exhausted, his body screaming in protest, he arrived in Nagasaki. He had somehow traversed the inferno, clinging to life by a thread, his eyes still haunted by the unimaginable sights of Hiroshima, but his spirit unbroken. He was home, against all odds, or so he thought. On the morning of August 9th, despite his open wounds, his profound weakness and a body racked with pain, Yamaguchi forced himself to report to his Mitsubishi office in Nagasaki. He felt an urgent, almost compulsive need to recount the unspeakable horrors he'd witnessed in Hiroshima. As he spoke to his bewildered superiors, his voice strained and hoarse, he described the terrible flash and the utter, unprecedented devastation. He painted a picture of a city annihilated, a landscape transformed into a charnel house. His colleagues, struggling to comprehend, listened in disbelief. His bosses, though concerned by his appearance, struggled to grasp the sheer magnitude of his account. They largely dismissed his description as the ravings of a man traumatized and delirious, perhaps exaggerating the scale of the destruction. "You must be crazy," one manager reportedly scoffed. It was in that exact surreal moment, as Yamaguchi was vividly detailing the apocalyptic aftermath of the first bomb, that a second, familiar, terrifying flash of light obliterated the morning through the office window. He was, yet again, approximately 3 kilometers from a nuclear explosion's hypocenter. His body, already gravely weakened and scarred by the first blast, was once more subjected to the brutal force of an atomic shockwave. Buildings crumbled, windows shattered, and chaos erupted all around him. The air filled with debris and the chilling echoes of the previous nightmare. Incredibly, impossibly, he survived again. This time, he instinctively dove for cover, but the impact reverberated through his already compromised system. He was alive, but the universe had just played a cruel, unimaginable trick on him, forcing him to endure the unthinkable twice over. The immediate aftermath of the second bombing plunged Yamaguchi and his family into a renewed nightmare of survival. His existing burns from Hiroshima worsened drastically, his hair began falling out in clumps, and he suffered incessant vomiting. The cumulative radiation dose was taking its insidious toll. The family, now twice devastated, faced an uphill battle against the invisible enemy of radiation sickness, combined with severe food shortages and an overwhelming sense of despair that blanketed the entire nation. His wife and son, though not at ground zero, also endured the effects of radiation exposure. Life as a hibakusha, a survivor of the atomic bomb, carried a heavy social burden in post-war Japan. There was a profound stigma attached to these individuals, fueled by fear of contagious illness, genetic mutations, and outright discrimination in employment and even marriage prospects. Despite the unimaginable physical and psychological trauma, the lingering fear of illness and the societal prejudice, Yamaguchi somehow managed to pick up the pieces of his shattered life. His resilience shone through as he slowly rebuilt, first finding work as a translator for the U.S. occupation forces. Later, he transitioned into a more stable career, eventually becoming a school principal. a testament to his enduring spirit and his commitment to contributing to society. Yet his extraordinary story of surviving both atomic bombings remained largely untold publicly for decades. The trauma was too deep, the memories too painful, and the fear of further discrimination too great. Like many hibakusha, he carried his invisible scars in silence, choosing to shield his family from additional hardship, a quiet hero living amidst the profound, unspoken legacy of the bombs. It wasn't until the early 2000s, as Tsutomu Yamaguchi entered his advanced years, that he felt a profound, undeniable sense of responsibility to finally break his silence. The weight of his unique experience compelled him to share his story, to ensure future generations understood the horrors he'd endured. He transformed from a silent survivor into a fervent anti-nuclear activist, traveling the world to bear witness to the unimaginable devastation he had twice encountered. His calm, yet powerful testimony, delivered with an unwavering conviction, became a potent plea for global disarmament. He shared his harrowing tale with schoolchildren, dignitaries, and fellow peace activists, his voice a beacon against the darkness of nuclear proliferation. He believed that if people truly understood the reality of atomic warfare, they would never allow it to happen again, to anyone, anywhere. Then, in 2009, a momentous milestone was reached. After decades of quiet suffering and steadfast advocacy, the Japanese government officially recognized Tsutomu Yamaguchi as the only person to have definitively survived both atomic bombings. It was a formal acknowledgement of his unimaginable ordeal. This official validation brought a measure of peace and a global spotlight to his message. He was no longer just a survivor. He was a living, breathing testament to the ultimate cost of war and the incredible endurance of the human spirit. His story became undeniable proof. Tsutomu Yamaguchi passed away in January 2010 at the venerable age of 93, succumbing to stomach cancer, just months after receiving this historical recognition. His life became an irrefutable testament to the grave dangers of nuclear weapons and the astonishing resilience inherent within us all. Tsutomu Yamaguchi's story transcends a mere narrative of extraordinary survival. It's a profound, piercing testament to the boundless limits of human resilience. It stands as a solemn, stark warning about the destructive might of nuclear warfare, a chilling reminder of humanity's darkest capabilities. Moreover, it's a poignant reminder that even amidst the most unimaginable, devastating circumstances, life stubbornly finds a way to persist, to push forward, to choose existence. His saga forces us to reconsider the very nature of fate and the indomitable will that resides within us. He wasn't a mythological hero or a superhuman figure from a blockbuster movie. He was an ordinary man, a naval engineer, forced to confront the utterly unthinkable, not once, but twice. His quiet strength, his unwavering determination to live for his family, is profoundly inspiring. His capacity to rise from the ashes, to fight for his loved ones, to bear witness to humanity's gravest folly, and ultimately, to advocate for peace and forgiveness, transforms him into an enduring beacon of hope and humanity for us all. His legacy is one of unwavering courage and quiet dignity. Tsutomu Yamaguchi's incredible journey compels us to introspect. What truly are our limits? How much adversity can we, as individuals and as a species, truly bear before we eventually break? His story challenges us to look deep within ourselves and confront our own inner fortitude. And what does this incredible true story about the man who steadfastly refused to die twice in the face of absolute apocalypse teach us about our own future? What profound responsibility do we bear to construct a world where such unimaginable horrors can never, ever be repeated? His voice, now tragically silenced by time, continues to echo through the corridors of history. It resonates as an urgent, impassioned plea for peace, a poignant call to remember the devastating cost of human madness, and a celebration of the unbreakable, enduring strength of the human spirit. We hope Tsutomu Yamaguchi's remarkable journey has left an indelible mark on your perspective, as it has on ours. What did you find most astonishing about his story? Share your thoughts and reflections in the comments below. We'd love to hear your insights.